main thing that always comes to mind, whenever we study this subject at the graduation level, or when we are trying to study this subject at the post graduation level, one thing that always comes to our mind is कि ये ड्रग के साथ कॉस्मेटिक क्यों जोड़ा गया है. That invariably comes to mind कि at least it came to my mind कि I am studying about drugs. Okay, I am studying about the drugs which are going to cure the person. Then why is cosmetic being introduced at the graduation level, or during our post graduation level? Definitely we didn't have this subject. We had some topics on cosmetics, but we didn't have this as a subject. But even though when the topics came, it always used to strike my mind, why this subject has been introduced. Unless and until I myself starting this teaching this subject, I never got the answer for it. Let me ask you, do you have the answer for it? Why is this subject, cosmetic as a subject, introduced along with drugs? Or why do we have drugs and cosmetic act and not only drugs act? Okay, what must be the reason? What do you think must be the reason? Why has this happened? Can somebody open their mic and tell me?
Sir,
Dear students, please
cosmetics are
let us have interactive session. You are post graduates now. आपने एडमिशन दिया यानी आपने कंप्लीट ही कर दिया, वैसे ही है. So let's have an interactive session. Okay, yeah, somebody was saying something, right? Sorry.
sir, because cosmetics are also
Can you
used
just tell
for-
your name first and then answer? It will be very easier for me to identify.
Yes, sir, Riddhi. Riddhi
Okay.
speaking.
Yeah, Riddhi. Go ahead.
Sir, because cosmetics are also treated as drugs and they are sometimes used as cosmeceuticals, which is the combination of drug and the cosmetic itself.
Okay, so you're talking about cosmeceuticals, which are the combination of drugs and cosmetics. Okay, fine. That's why cosmetic is included. Okay, anybody else? And you say they are giving the treatment similar to kind of a drug. So can somebody tell me, when Riddhi is saying that cosmetics are treated similar to drugs, what does she mean to say? And why they are treated similar to drugs?
Sir, it may mean like we use sometimes some medicated creams to treat some skin infections or hair treatment, like some cosmetics.
No. But if this is who is this?
Sir, Gauri is speaking.
Okay, Gauri. Gauri, whenever somebody is used for when something is used for treatment, it invariably comes into drug. Okay, so creams, when they are used for treatment, they are classified into drugs. Okay,
Okay,
right?
sir.
There are some few examples like acne. Okay, when some cream is used for acne, it there comes a thing that whether it's a cosmetic or whether it is going to be a drug. But again, if there are some ingredients which are going to kill the microbes, then again it cannot be an anti-acne cream, though is used to beautify you, but it cannot be classified as a cosmetic. According to me, it should be classified as a drug only as per the definition of the drug. Yes, somebody else? But yes, right, Gauri, I understood what you mean to say. I will take your point and I will talk about it further.
Sir, like the definition of drug, some cosmetics are used to treat, prevent and cure some diseases.
Okay, fine. Good that you don't know the answer. I will tell you the answer. Why basically cosmetics and drugs they go side by side. Okay. The first and the most important thing why cosmetics are treated like a drug, which was told earlier. Okay, is because cosmetics, though they are applied on skin, they should have the safety as that of a drug. It may not show the efficacy, or it may not show the action that is intended by the drug, because drug is used for treatment, prevention, mitigation, okay, or diagnosis. Okay, so ये चार चीजें ड्रग ने नहीं दिखा, ये चार चीजें कॉस्मेटिक ने नहीं दिखाई तो भी चलेगा, because if something is used for treatment, it is a drug. If something is used for mitigation, it is a drug. If something is used for prevention, it is a drug. And if something is used for diagnosis, then it is a drug. Okay, cosmetic doesn't do any of this. But the main important thing that the cosmetic does is, okay, that you require the cosmetic to also be as safe as that of a drug. It should not show any adverse, or it should not show any toxic effect as that of a drug. That's why, okay, you are using cosmetics and drugs side by side. Second thing, why we are including in the studies of pharmacy, it is because if you see the procedures of preparation of cosmetics, it is the same. If you see the evaluation that is done of the cosmetic, it is similar to that of the other formulation of the drug formulation. Okay, so drug formulation manufacturing is the same, cosmetic manufacturing is also the same. Evaluation of cosmetic and drug, they are same. If you see the equipments that are used, they are also the same. Okay, safety parameters, they are the same. So there are many things of the cosmetics and the drugs that go. If you see the raw materials, okay, excipients that are used, that are also the same. If you see the procedures that are being used, the procedures are also the same. If you see the dosage form that is being used, okay, that are also the same. Okay, so that is the reason why the cosmetics and the drugs, they go side by side. Coming to our first unit, cosmetic regulatory, as cosmetics is treated like a drug, that's why the cosmetics also has to be regulated properly like a drug. Okay, so as I told you, the most important thing is why it should be regulated is because of the safety aspects. Because we don't want something to happen with the cosmetic to be manufactured or sold or done something whereby, okay, it is going to have hazardous effect onto the customer that is being using it. Now hazardous effect can be even death. Okay, cosmetics can lead to death of the person. You must have seen many cosmetics which are causing adverse skin reaction, though after a lot of regulations you will be finding that because of the misuse of cosmetics, because of the spurious cosmetics, because of the misbranded cosmetics, because of the subgrade, substandard kind of a cosmetics, still you will observe that at many places, okay, that there are very very adverse effect on the skin that are being seen. Okay, and that is why the regulation of it becomes very very important. We had one of the staff in our in our college who had a very serious effect of cosmetics on the skin, whereby her skin had totally burnt, her face had totally burnt because of the use of cosmetics. Okay, and the recovery of it near about took for near about 6 to 7 months of it. Okay, it was because of the non-proper use of the cosmetics. Now these type of regulations are very important. If you see the Indian skin, it is not as sensitive as if you take the western skin. अगर आप यूके के लोगों के स्किन देखोगे, अगर आप यूएस के लोगों के स्किन देखोगे, तो उनकी स्किन बहुत ही सेंसिटिव है. And because of this sensitive skin, the regulation of the cosmetics over there becomes more important. It as I told you, it doesn't mean that it should not be the regulation over here doesn't become important. It becomes important over here also, but over there it becomes still more important. Okay, that you have to regulate this cosmetic. The comparatively the skin that the Indians have is not as yes, it is sensitive, but it is not as sensitive as the skin of the people of the western countries. Okay, but all said and done, the cosmetics, as it should not have any adverse effect, as it should not have any side effects, as it should not have any fatal effects. Hence, it is very important for us to regulate this cosmetics. And that's why the first thing that we are going to study is how we are going to regulate the sale, the import, and as well as the manufacturing of the cosmetics. The first thing that we are going to study is, in order to understand that when we say you have to regulate the cosmetics, we have to first understand what is the cosmetics. So we are going to see the definition of cosmetics as per the Indian regulation. I'm also going to tell you the definition of cosmetics as per the European legislation. Okay, that also we are going to study along with this. Then we are going to study in the latter part. We are going to study about the regulation required for the labeling of cosmetics. We are going to study the regulation that are required for the imports of cosmetics. We are also going to talk about the misbranded and spurious cosmetics. We are going to talk about the regulatory provisions that are required for manufacturing of cosmetics. In that, we are going to study about the how to obtain the license and the conditions that are required. We are going to see what you are prohibited from manufacturing and what you are being prohibited from selling with regards to the cosmetics. uh, we are going to talk about the loan licensing of the cosmetics, and finally we are going to study the offenses and penalties that are there as per the cosmetics. Now, most of the part, if you see of these, if you talk about the misbranded, spurious cosmetics, if you start talk about the conditions of obtaining the license, if you talk about the sales and manufacturing of cosmetics, if you talk about the loan licenses, okay, most of them are similar to your drug. So whatever you have studied in your final year B Farm under jurisprudence, that is going to be of a very good help over here. Okay, right? With this, let us start with our first unit, that is cosmetics regulatory. In that, first we are going to study about the definition of the cosmetics. Now, how is a cosmetic defined as per the Indian regulation? आपको चार चीजें याद रखनी है. Four things you have to remember. The four things that you have to remember, first is the four words that you have to remember is rub, poured, sprinkle, and sprayed. This is the way that a cosmetic is applied onto the body or introduced into the body. Okay, so any article that is intended to be rubbed, poured, sprinkled, or sprayed onto the body, okay, that is introduced into or otherwise applied to the human body or any part, maybe a face, maybe a hand, maybe a leg, or any part thereof. Next four things that you have to remember is for cleansing purpose, for beautification purpose, for promoting attractiveness, and for altering the appearance. So any ingredient that has been rubbed in order to have cleansing effect, beautifying effect, promoting attractiveness, or altering the appearance, or it is poured for this purpose, or sprinkled for this purpose, or sprayed for this purpose, or anything that has been rubbed for cleansing, anything that has been poured for altering the appearance, or sprinkled for beautifying, or sprayed for cleansing, anything that has been done for these purposes. Okay, so anything that has been rubbed, poured, sprinkled, sprayed for the purpose of cleansing, beautifying, promoting attractiveness, or altering the appearance, these are known as cosmetics. It also includes any article that is used as a component of cosmetics. It may not be a formulation itself, it may be a component of that cosmetic. Even if you use it for that purpose, even if that component is being used, then that is also known as a cosmetics. Okay, so this is the definition of cosmetics. Four words you have to remember, that is rub, pour, sprinkle, sprayed. This is how it has been applied onto the body, and for cleansing, beautifying, promoting attractiveness, and altering the appearance, this is the purpose for which it is being used. So this is how a cosmetic is been defined as per the Indian regulation. Now this definition is little bit incomplete if I think of it, I find it to be a little bit incomplete. Okay, because here it doesn't talk about the dentifrices which we have used as a cosmetics. It doesn't talk about the soaps, though cleansing word has been used over here. So soaps are cleansers, but soap as such has been not talked about over here. Okay, so that is the reason why I have also taken the another definition, though in your syllabus it is definition of cosmetics as per the Indian regulation only, but I have taken another definition as per the European Union. Okay, what does it talk about? It says that cosmetic is any substance of preparation which is intended to be in contact with the external parts of the human body. Okay, so these are all the substances which are on the external parts of the human body, applied on the external parts of the human body, right? It means something that is taken orally cannot be considered as a cosmetic, though it is altering the appearance or it is making you beautiful, right? Just for an example, vitamin E. Can somebody tell me the use of vitamin E, girls specifically? Why have you used vitamin E? Can you tell me? Any girl who has
Anti-aging
used
effect.
vitamin E?
Anti-aging effect. It has
ओके,
anti-aging effect.
एंटी एजिंग इफेक्ट, एंटी एजिंग इफेक्ट के लिए विटामिन ई यूज करते हैं, विटामिन ए ज्यादा यूज करते हैं बेटा. ओके,
Okay, sir.
विटामिन
To
ई,
Sir,
यस,
reduce the dark circles. To
reduce the
reduce the
dark
dark
circles.
circles.
Okay, yes, for
vitamin
anti
E
aging,
capsules
for
for hair growth,
the
sir.
dark, yes,
Hair growth.
fantastic for hair growth. Okay, so vitamin E is used for many purposes. अगर आप डार्क सर्कल्स रिमूव कर रहे हो, आप उसको हेयर ग्रोथ के लिए यूज कर रहे हो. अगर आप उसको what else somebody said for as a anti aging यूज कर रहे हो, it means what, it is a cosmetic. But now that vitamin E you are taking through mouth, अगर आप उसको हेयर ऑयल में ऐड कर रहे हो, then it is a cosmetic product. लेकिन अगर आप ब्यूटिफिकेशन के लिए यूज कर रहे हो, अगर आप उसको ओरली ले रहे हो इनसाइड द बॉडी, then it is known as a nutraceutical. Okay, one term cosmeceutical, one of our friend talked about this. These ingredients which are taken through mouth are known as nutraceuticals. So they are differentiating the nutraceuticals from the cosmetics. So these are the substances, according to the European Union, they are applied onto the external parts of the human body. Just for example, epidermis, maybe hair system, maybe nails, maybe lips, maybe external genital organs. For them it has been applied. Or also, if not on the human body or not on the skin, then they are applied on the teeth and the mucous membrane. For example, oral cavity. So this includes your mouthwashes, it includes your toothpaste, tooth powders, okay, and so on and so forth, right? So this sentence includes those ingredients. In the view of cleaning them, this sentence includes your soaps. Perfuming them, perfume was not used in the earlier definition of cosmetics that is given by Drug and Cosmetic Acts, but perfumes are cosmetics. Okay, perfumes are studied under cosmetics. So for perfuming them, so perfumes are included in your definition of European Union. For changing the appearance, for correcting the body odors, this includes your deodorants, or protecting them or keeping them in a good conditions. So any substance of preparation intended to be placed in contact with the various external parts of human body, in the bracket epidermis, hair system, nails, lips, and external genital organs, or with the teeth and the mucous membrane of the oral cavity, with a view of cleaning, perfuming, changing appearance, correcting body odor, protecting, and keeping them in good condition. All these substances are known as cosmetics. I'll give you one minute. Kindly go through the definitions of cosmetic as per the Indian system, and also as per the European Union. If any query you have, you can ask. The definition as per the European Union. This is the definition as per the European Union. This is a continuous sentence. I have just broken down into parts so that it will be easier for you to understand. Okay, fine. Let us go to the next part now. That is, it talks about the regulatory provision regarding the imports of cosmetics. Okay. Now, what is prohibited to be imported as a cosmetic? Okay, which cosmetics is prohibited to be imported under Section 10? Any cosmetics which is not of standard quality cannot be imported. Any cosmetic that is misbranded or spurious cannot be imported. आप उसको वहां से इंपोर्ट करके यहाँ पे लाओगे और आप बेचने की कोशिश करोगे तो नहीं चलेगा. Okay, understood? Any cosmetics that is contained having the ingredients which may be injurious or harmful or unsafe for use, that you cannot import. Any cosmetic whose import is prohibited by the rule, those cosmetics cannot be imported by you. Any cosmetics that is containing hexachlorophene. Hexachlorophene is an antibacterial agent which was used previously a lot for in cleansers. Okay, but this hexachlorophene is known to cause brain damage, and that's why this hexachlorophene cannot be used in a cosmetics. So any cosmetics that is containing hexachlorophene cannot be imported by you. Any cosmetic which is containing lead or which is containing arsenic compound used for coloring purposes. Many a times, previously coal tar colors used to be. Nowadays also coal tar colors are being used. We are going to talk about coal tar colors in the further slides. Okay, so lead and arsenic was a component which was present in coal tar colors. If it is present, first of all, it should not be present. If it is present, then it should be present in a very small quantity. The quantity we are going to specify further. So any cosmetic which is containing lead or arsenic that are used for coloring purpose, that should not be imported by you. Arsenic, it leads to malignancy. Okay, it is a well-known product leading to malignancy. And lead, it attacks the brain and attacks the nervous system, and it may lead to coma, it may lead to convulsion, or it may also lead to death. And that is why, as lead and arsenic, that's why in the first year BPharm you have limit test for lead, limit test for arsenic, limit test for chlorides. If you remember, you had this test. Okay, as lead and arsenic should be not present in excess quantity, it should be present in ppm, in a very very small quantity, and that is the reason why these should not be present inside the cosmetics. Okay, and any cosmetics that contains mercury compounds should not be imported by you. Mercury compound, as you very well know, are highly poisonous substances, and hence any ingredient, any cosmetic that is containing mercury as the ingredient, okay, in small quantity also, should not be imported by you. So the substandard, the misbranded, spurious, injurious, then containing hexachlorophene, then arsenic, lead, or mercury compounds, these type of cosmetics should not be imported by you under section 10. Okay, so next you are going to talk about, if you are going to import the cosmetics, then how you are going to import it. There are specific ports from which you are going to import this cosmetics. If you are importing it through railways, then the Firozpur cantonment and at the Amritsar railway station, you should import the cosmetics. The cosmetics should land over there. If you're getting it through sea from the other countries, then your ship should come to the following ports, that is Chennai, Kolkata, Mumbai, Cochin, Nhava Sheva, or Kandla. Okay, at these seaports your ship should come, from where you should take the shipment of your cosmetics. If you are importing these cosmetics from other countries, please remember we are talking about the imports of cosmetics which you are intending for sale. So I am bringing the cosmetics in India and I am selling it. So it is not that दूसरी जगह का सब स्टैंडर्ड क्वालिटी का प्रोडक्ट मैं यहाँ पे लाऊंगा और मैं बेचूंगा. Government doesn't want that, because it wants to protect its people, okay, from the hazardous effect of the cosmetics, and hence these rules are given. So if you are importing it through the air route, then the airports on which your consignment should land is Ahmedabad, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Kolkata, and Mumbai. Now these records are near about say 10 years back. अभी recently बहुत सारे changes अगर हुए होंगे, some new ports, seaports, some new airports, some new railway stations, okay, may be added into it. Some new routes, road routes may be added into it. For example, Roxel has been added as the road through which, if your consignment is coming to road, then it should come to Roxel, and from Roxel you can Bihar में आता है वो area, and from there you can get it into India. Okay, it comes on to Bihar and Nepal border के यहाँ पे आता है वो. So there it can come, through that route you can import the cosmetics. So that why this specific ports and the stations are given, because you have the authorities over there who are trained to understand the cosmetic products over there, and hence they are going to check the cosmetics and then they are going to allow you to take it inside India. Okay, that's why these specific ports and stations have been given. Okay, now you cannot import any cosmetics, okay, that does not comply with your schedule Q or schedule S. Any cosmetics that you are importing should be complying with schedule Q and schedule S. Okay, as per rule number 129G, okay, for the standards for imported cosmetics, it talks about that no cosmetics shall be imported unless it complies with the specification prescribed under schedule S and schedule Q. Now what are the specifications that are given under schedule S? Okay, schedule S talks about the standards of cosmetics. This schedule S we are going to study in great detail at the end of this chapter. Okay, schedule S are the IS standards, Indian standards, where various tests are being given in order to determine the quality and safety, mostly the safety of the products. Okay, it talks about the skin irritation test, it talks about the ocular test, it talks about the mucosal membrane test. Okay, so it talks about the skin sensitivity test, and many other tests are prescribed under schedule S. Few of the tests we are going to see. Okay, so your cosmetics should be safe. Okay, it gives the list of 36 cosmetics. All these 36 cosmetics, if you are importing, okay, then it should comply with your schedule S, and it should also comply with your schedule Q. What does schedule Q talk about? Schedule Q talks about the list of dyes, list of colors and pigments that are permitted to be used in the cosmetics and soap. Schedule Q consists of two parts. It consists of part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is a list of dyes, colors and pigment which are used in cosmetics as well as soaps, whereas part 2 talks only of the list of colors that are permitted in the soap. I will just share with you, if you allow me, the schedule Q. Okay, I'll just share with you schedule Q. These are the list for schedule S. Okay, now this is your schedule Q. Are you able to view it?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay, yeah. So this is Drug and Cosmetic Act, okay, 1945. उसमें से लिया है मैंने. This is the schedule Q that we are talking about. It consists of two parts. So this is your first part, okay, which talks about the list of dyes and colors, okay, and pigments permitted to be used in cosmetics and soap. Okay, these are the code numbers. They are given the name of the ingredient. For example, some of the names that you remember, for example, tartrazine, you must be remembering this name. You must be remembering sunset yellow. You must be remembering amaranth. You must be remembering erythrocin. Okay, you must be remembering brilliant blue. Okay, so these are the list of colors. They have given the index number. They have given the chemical name also. So they have given the list of dyes, colors and pigments that should be used in cosmetics. Any cosmetics that is containing the color, dye or pigment apart from these in their cosmetics, those cosmetics you cannot import and sell in India. Are you getting me? So this is the list that has been given. It consists of part 2 also. अगर आप सोप कुछ बाहर से इंपोर्ट कर रहे हो और अगर आप उसको इंडिया में बेच रहे हो, then apart from these colors and the above colors which are also permitted in soap, no other color should be used. Got it? Am I clear? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Then it talks about, this is about schedule Q, that it should contain only the, you should import only those cosmetics which contain the list of colors that have been mentioned, right? It also talks about Schedule S. Okay. Now, Schedule S talks about the standards of cosmetic, as I said, about the quality and safety of cosmetics. Okay. So if there is some cosmetic which is not complying with Schedule S, then you cannot. And if it is given in this list of 36, so these are the 36, cosmetics, skin powder, tooth powder, toothpaste. They have included everything: hair oil, shampoos, hair creams, colognes, nail paint, nail polish, your lip sleeves, your lipsticks, your soaps. Okay, then dyes, your bindi, henna, everything they have included over here. Okay, so all these 36 cosmetics should comply with your Schedule S, and then only you can import this cosmetics. If you see the Schedule S, I will show you the Schedule S. This is Schedule S. Okay, what does the Schedule S talks? It says standards for cosmetics and finished product. In the finished form, the following cosmetics in the finished form shall conform to the Indian standard specification. That is the IS standards. Okay, and they have given the list of your 36 cosmetics which have been included under this. Now, when you talk about the IS standards, I'll just show you the IS standards. Okay, just give me a minute. So this is one of the IS standards which I'm not going to show. I'm showing you another IS standards. Okay, so this is the IS standards. So these are the IS standards. We are going to study this in detail. I uploaded this in your yeah. This is the IS standards, which talks about the method of test for safety evaluation of cosmetics. So your cosmetic should comply with these standards, IS standards. These includes many tests. Okay, let me go further. Okay, so these are the tests that have to be carried out on the cosmetics. You have to carry out the skin irritation test wherever applicable. You have to carry out the oral toxicity limit test wherever applicable. You have to carry out the mucosal membrane irritancy test wherever applicable. Okay, so these are the tests which you have to carry out for the cosmetics. And if your cosmetics pass this test, then they are of the IS standards. Okay, and then only they comply with your Schedule S, and then only you can import it into India. This we are going to talk about in great detail at the end of this chapter. Okay, maybe 7-8 lectures afterwards. Okay, we are going to talk about this, and these are the 36 cosmetics which are included under that. Okay, now let us talk about the misbranded and spurious cosmetics. Now, we have earlier said that misbranded and spurious cosmetics, if you see over here, we have said that the misbranded and spurious cosmetics, they cannot be imported in India, right? So what your misbranded and spurious cosmetic cannot be sold, it cannot be imported, and it cannot be manufactured also. Okay, so what do you understand by misbranded cosmetics? A cosmetics is said to be misbranded if, okay, it contains any color which is not prescribed. और प्रिस्क्राइब कलर कहाँ पे दिए हुए हैं? आपके सारे के सारे शेड्यूल क्यू में दिए हुए हैं. So any color that is not been prescribed, okay, you cannot use it. Prescribed colors are given in schedule Q. A misbranded cosmetic is a cosmetic if it is not labeled in the prescribed manner. And how to label a cosmetic is given under part 15. Okay, in part 15 they talk about the labeling of cosmetics. We are going to have a separate lecture on labeling of cosmetics. Okay, or if the label or container bears any statement which is false or misleading, then also that cosmetic is called as a misbranded cosmetics. So if a cosmetic contains a color which is not prescribed, it is a misbranded one. it consists of a label which is not there in a prescribed manner, it is a misbranded cosmetics. If it contains a label which bears some statement which may be false, this may be misleading, then also it is a misbranded cosmetics. Okay. Now let us talk about the spurious cosmetics. The cosmetics are known to be spurious if it is imported under a name which belongs to another cosmetics. Okay, so you are importing a cosmetics, it is containing some name, okay, but it is not of that particular company, it is of some other company and the label is of something else, then it is a spurious cosmetics. A cosmetic is a spurious cosmetic if the label or the container, okay, is trying to say that I am the manufacturer of it, but actually the company does not exist. So even if you are importing it in somebody else's name, then also it is a misbranded. Okay, supposing आप L'Oreal के नाम पे ला रहे हो उसको, okay, और वो L'Oreal ने बनाया हुआ ही नहीं है, then it is a misbranded. Supposing आप उसको किसी और नाम से ला रहे हो, any name, क्या नाम दे सकते हो उसको, मुझे नहीं अभी कुछ याद आ रहा, ठीक है कोई बात नहीं, some other name and the manufacturer does not exist in that country, then also it is a spurious cosmetics. Or if it is saying that it is a product of a particular manufacturer whose this product is not there, then also it is a spurious cosmetics. Okay, so cosmetics is deemed to be spurious if it is imported under the name which belongs to other cosmetics, which actually is not. If a label or the container bears, okay, the made of an individual or the company purporting to be the manufacturer of the cosmetics, which individual or company is fictitious and the company does not exist, or if the product of the manufacturer of whom it is not truly a product. In all these cases, the particular cosmetic is known as a spurious cosmetics. Okay. There is another rule 134A under a cosmetics. Okay. No cosmetics shall be imported which contains a coal tar color other than the one that is prescribed under Schedule Q. So Schedule Q, as I told you earlier, gives you the list of colors. The color should be one of that. Okay. Just to tell you something about the coal tar colors, I hope so most of you all are aware of what coal tar colors are. Those who are not aware, I'll just tell you about the coal tar colors. Now, coal tar colors are a byproduct, okay, of coal. Now, coal के तीन बाय प्रोडक्ट्स होते हैं. कोल के कुछ सॉलिड बाय प्रोडक्ट्स होते हैं. कोल हैज लिक्विड बाय प्रोडक्ट्स and coal has gaseous byproducts. Solid byproducts are basically used for making of ions and other metals. The liquid byproducts, they are known as coal tar. Okay, the liquid byproducts are basically known as coal tar, and this coal tar are used to make dyes, drugs and perfumes earlier. अभी कोई भी कॉस्मेटिक के जो कलर, अभी कोई भी कलर जो शेड्यूल क्यू में दिए गए हुए हैं, those are not prepared by coal tar, but because they contain a very high amount of arsenic, lead as well as heavy metal, okay, and also sometimes mercury. Because if you see that from solid coal you get these different metals over here, you have seen over here. Okay, so if you see the from coal you get metals also. So over here also there are chances that some metals may be present, that is lead, arsenic may be present over here also. Okay, and hence they are not being used nowadays. But even though now these colors are basically manufactured from petroleum products, okay, they are basically prepared from petroleum. The colors are now prepared from petroleum products as a byproduct of petroleum, but still we call them as the coal tar colors also. Earlier from coal they used to prepare these colors, and hence they were known as coal tar colors, and they were containing a very high amount of arsenic and lead, hence they were discarded. So this is about something about the coal tar colors. So any cosmetics that contains coal tar color other than that prescribed in Schedule Q, okay, should not be used. And one that are prescribed in Schedule Q should contain less than 2 ppm of arsenic, less than 20 ppm of lead, and it should not contain more than 100 ppm of heavy metal other than lead. Okay, so these are the norms for the colors that are present in Schedule Q. Apart from Schedule Q, no color should be used. And if you are using from Schedule Q, then your color should come under this category. That is, it should not contain more than 2 ppm of arsenic, more than 20 ppm of lead, and more than 100 ppm of heavy metals. Okay. Please remember, nowadays we call coal tar colors as coal tar colors, but they are actually not coal tar colors because they are not obtained as a byproduct from coal. Now they are obtained as a byproduct of petroleum. Okay, they are obtained as a byproduct of petroleum. Please remember that. But still, the name goes on, and still we call them as the coal tar colors. Right? Got it? This is all about your what you call it, the imports of cosmetics. If you have any problem, please do ask me. Any problem you have? Any questions you have?
Sir, all these rules and regulations are not for the cosmetics of personal use, right?
बेसिकली कैसे होता है कि जब आप कॉस्मेटिक ये सब प्रॉब्लम कब आते हैं? हु वाज दिस? कैन आई नो द पर्सन हु आस्क्ड मी दिस क्वेश्चन?
यस सर, पूर्वा.
या पूर्वा बेसिकली प्रॉब्लम कब आता है? जैसे कि नाउअडेज आल्सो देयर आर मेनी कॉस्मेटिक्स दैट आर अवेलेबल इन मार्केट. आपको मालूम है 5-5 रुपए में और 10-10 रुपए में लिपस्टिक मिलती है मार्केट में. I used to happen to go to तुलसी बाग earlier. Okay, काफ़ी दिनों पहले की बात है, 10 साल पहले की बात है. मैं 10 साल पहले इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि अभी मुझे मालूम नहीं उसका क्या सिचुएशन है. There I have found, Purva, that there are lipstick which are available at 5 and 10 rupees. I am not joking. आज भी FC रोड पे the other day I went, maybe some 1-2 months back, जब कोविड थोड़ा सा कम हो गया था, I found one person selling lipstick at 10 rupees. Okay, and other cosmetic as 15 and 16 and 17 rupees. What do you expect that cosmetic to contain? It was containing all substandard products. Unless and until India में क्या problem है? Unless and until somebody reports, no action is being taken. जैसे कि अगर आप आपके पर्सनल यूज के लिए कॉस्मेटिक्स मंगाते हो, बराबर है, और उससे अगर आपको कुछ प्रॉब्लम होता है तो यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू रिपोर्ट इट. दिस हैपेंस व्हेन पीपल आर सेलिंग इट. समझो आपने किसी से खरीदा वो इंडिया में, और अगर आपको प्रॉब्लम आ गया तो आप रिपोर्ट करोगे, और रिपोर्ट करने के बाद ये सारा चीजें शुरू होता है कि वेदर द कलर दैट वाज, वेदर द कॉस्मेटिक इज स्प्यूरियस, whether the cosmetic is misbranded, whether the cosmetic is considering Schedule Q colors, whether the cosmetic is imported and it is complying with Schedule S, whether it is complying with the labeling standards that are given. ये सब उसके बाद शुरू होता है. अगर किसी ने रिपोर्ट किया तो 1. दूसरा, ये तब शुरू होता है if a drug inspector picks up some sample and he takes it for testing. That is the time when these all things have been studied. Otherwise, it all goes unnoticed. So if you are coming to your question, if you are getting a cosmetic for your personal use, and if you are having some problem, you are not going to report it to the government. And if you are not going to report it to the government, no action would be taken. Yes, if you report it to the government कि मैंने ऐसा कॉस्मेटिक्स लाया, मुझे ऐसा उसके साथ साइड इफेक्ट्स हुआ, then what is going to happen? Then the government is going to make a rule that such and such cosmetics should not be imported from such and such country. Then it will be included in the rule. Otherwise, it all goes unnoticed. Okay. I hope so. You got your answer.
Yes, sir.